Hey, it's Krusty the Pizza Man. All right, where's my $400?
Hey, wait. How can you be here when your show's on live?
I just threw on an old rerun. No one will know the difference. Children, remain calm. The Falkland Islands have just been invaded. I repeat, the Falklands have just been invaded.
TBTL.
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is?
It's Friday. Gonna get down on Friday.
Everybody's looking forward to the weekend.
Well, my friends are just beside themselves that I'm going to get to work with the Cobra.
Oh, God, no, please, just Cobra.
Sure, why not?
Jokes. Do some.
Okay, what makes you laugh?
Comedy.
Obviously.
And sometimes tragedy. Light tragedy. Erectile dysfunction. Non-fatal hunting accidents. Waving at someone you think you know, but turns out to be a stranger. That sort of thing. Go.
Well, all right. Hello, good morning, and welcome, everyone, to a Friday edition of TBTL, the show that just might be too beautiful to live.
Okay, guys, can we get to disc jockeying?
My name is Luke Burbank. I am your host.
I'm trying to connect with people, and I really put myself out there on the airwaves.
Coming to you for the final day this week, because it's a Friday edition, but also the final show from a beautiful, although a bit foggy, a bit rainy, a bit cold, but still the wonderful place that is Chicago, Illinois.
It is our turn.
As we've made it to episode 4678 in a collector series.
Let the fun begin.
Oftentimes the stakes on this show are pretty low. It's me in a museum in Chicago thinking kids are going to be too noisy or, the sort of trifling matters of life. But not today, because today we're dealing with somebody who is in a great legal jeopardy. It's our friend and Andrew's partner, Genevieve, who will be involved in some sort of legal proceedings around this ticket on a vehicle that she wasn't even driving. We need to get the Innocence Project in on this one. Well, anyway, we'll start by talking with Genevieve about what her plan is for that. Also, I've got a new favorite Instagram feed that I've been following.
Welcome to the internet.
Which had me reply guying yesterday. I don't know why, but I love it if people reply to my Instagram posts. I don't like replying to other people's posts. It makes me feel like pick me or something, but I did. We'll talk about it with this guy, longest running Cobra of the show, maybe best known for his depictions of the tall ships. By the Friday episode, he usually has a lot of thoughts and a lot of feelings that have been building up throughout the week.
Because I sit with it.
He's Andrew Walsh, and he's joining me right now. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, Luke. Before we get into all of that, really, and I think I can actually make this quick. I don't think I have to, derail the whole show today, but I do need to make a correction, and I'm looking for the listener who pointed out the fact that I needed to make this correction. I can't find their name right now, but that's okay. They know they're out there. The other day on the show, around this time in the show, I was sort of spoofing with you a little bit because you mentioned that it was foggy outside your window, and I said the listeners of the show could play a game. They could even place bets maybe on one of the popular betting apps.
Boy, people did not like me mentioning Kalshi.
I assumed that would be the case, although I did not catch any of that blowback. That must have been... People are learning that they don't need to copy me on things that they're mad at you about. That's a huge development.
I know, but the insane thing is I had a bet on that. So I just made a lot of dough.
So the bet that I set up was when you say it's foggy outside, you have a split second as a listener and me as a co-host and co-bro to guess whether or not you're going to play Ella Fitzgerald singing Foggy Day.
A foggy day in London town.
A foggy day. I don't think you needed to play that. I think I did it even better than Ella Fitzgerald, but okay. That's fine. Or the one that you did play on, I don't know, Wednesday or whatever it was, or Tuesday, which was Stephen Colbert saying, "We've got the fog," from a fake podcast commercial he did.
Yeah.
And I said people can guess on whether it's going to be one or the other, but no, I was totally forgetting. There are two Stephen Colbert fog-related drops. The other one is, and I've always thought, oh, there's one, but no, there's two. There's We've Got the Fog, and there's Cloud Fog.
Well, they're from the same.
They're from the same.
They're from the same
bit.
moment. In fact, I've got it right here. Can I play it?
Yeah,
for you?
please. You have the
This
whole
is
thing.
The full.
Oh,
yeah.
great.
I don't have.
Okay,
The,
great,
actually, I don't have the edited version on this
okay.
computer. So this is
Okay,
actually kind of.
The Late Show podcast is brought to you by CloudFog. Moving your business to the cloud? We've got the fog. Got some fog in your hands? Let's put that in the cloud. CloudFog. Part cloud, part fog, all security.
Perfect. Yeah. So I know they're from the same bit, but you actually have 3 different pieces.
I don't think I do.
Cloud Fog? You sometimes.
I think I only play him saying Cloud Fog.
Cloud Fog, and well, you sometimes do that. But the other day
right.
you just played We've Got the Fog, and a listener was like, "You didn't even mention Cloud Fog," and I was like, "You're right. They're from the same bit, but they are 3 different drops if you count Ella in there."
So they only had a 33% chance.
Yeah,
of predicting as versus a 50-50 chance.
This listener, if I understand it correctly, lost a lot of money on the speculation market because of my mistake. So I wanted to apologize for that and set the record straight.
Yeah, boy, yeah. People are emailing me. Somebody sent me, honestly, like it kind of ticked me off. I didn't respond to them, so I'll respond here. And I'm paraphrasing, but it wasn't like, oh, hey, just so you know, like I've been looking into Kalshi and it's kind of unsavory, which, by the way, I believe I've been saying the whole time. But it was literally like the subject line was like, drop Kalshi, and then the body of it was just like, they're the worst people you've ever heard of in your life or something. But it felt very like, drop Kalshi, I'll drop you. What are you doing emailing me, telling me how to live my life? Like it didn't have any sort of, hey, this is how I feel about it. It was like telling me this is what you're going to do. And it literally almost made me go dump another $500 into it just to spite the. Oh, and by the way, this person sent this email from a non-identifiable, like
they
their
created
emails,
a burner?
I don't think so. I just think it happened to be how their email there was. It's like it was a nonsense word at wherever, and it wasn't signed by their name. So if you are that person, just know that there are ways to give me feedback that might have a good outcome. That's not how to do it, partner. That ain't how you do it.
Speaking of betting, would you bet that John Sklarov has created burner accounts either on social media or email so that he can take us to task for things or respond to things without us knowing that it's our colleague?
Boy, I'm sure he's created a few Knicks related, like a few, like he's gone full Kevin Durant and created a few burners. By the way, Kevin Durant apparently is back on his burner bullshit.
What? Really?
And yeah, like, did you hear the story years ago when it first emerged? I guess there's now he's admitted to having a newer burner that he's still using.
I kind of like that.
But the thing is,
I like that he's admitting it.
And no, it actually takes it right out of the realm of cringe and into just being like, that's how you are and we love it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I can't remember the exact name, but the burner account that has been now linked to Kevin Durant as the most logical or likely scenario for reasons that I don't understand, but has to do with what he has admitted to and what the posts are. It apparently has a really funny name. And people are being like, we think this is Kevin Durant's latest burner account, and it has such a good name that we are now very pro Kevin Durant being a burner account guy.
Luke, I have a question for you, and this isn't... Nobody needs this for clarification on the story except for me, because I always, you know me, I'm not an NBA person, and so I sincerely...
Nor am I, which is why I'm right at the edge of my skis with even this comment.
More so than me, though. When I was listening to a lot of Levitard show, I'd hear a lot of, current
Hassan
basketball
Whiteside
players' names, just names
content.
flying by. And so I'd start to pick up some context for it. At least I would know the names. But there is something about Kevin Durant, and I know that he goes by KD. I couldn't tell you who he plays for. And here's my question for you. I don't even know if he still plays because I get him confused, or he is the guy from, or I get him confused with the guy from.
He's not. Uncut Gems.
Uncut
He's not
Gems.
Kevin
Who's
Garnett.
That? Okay, they're both named Kevin, though. Maybe that's
and they're both tall, and they
they're
both have
basketball players.
Bisyllabic last names. When I say tall, what I mean is they both play the same position.
I see.
Although what would you say the revelation about KD was is that he actually also can dribble the ball and shoot threes, which was not Kevin Garnett's game. But if you looked at them, they're both real tall dudes, and their first name is Kevin. So
do they call Kevin? Do they call him KG?
I'm trying to remember if they called Kevin Garnett KG. Somebody was talking the other day. Sorry, this is yet another tangent, but that the current NBA just doesn't seem to have the proliferation of kind of great nicknames anymore. Like, were we not nicknaming athletes or whatever? And they were just going through a list, and I was like, I was agreeing heartily that, like, back in my day, there was a lot of good nicknames out there. There was like Earl the Pearl Monroe. There was George the Iceman Gervin. There was my favorite, Vinny the Microwave Johnson, because he used to heat up fast when you put him in the game. There was even Detlef Schrempf, who was known as Herr Schrempf, when he would do things for the Seattle Sonics. How's that for a transition?
Love it. I love it. I know you want to talk about Detlef.
Speaking of non-burner accounts, so Detlef Schrempf, people that are in Seattle, or I guess Texas, because I think he was a Maverick as well, probably know who this guy is. He was a German-born basketball player in the NBA. The reason I was tracking him from an early age was because he was a University of Washington Husky. So when I was, I don't know, probably, I want to say 14, 15 years old, I was talking the other day how I used to listen to all spring training games. I also used to listen to every Washington Husky men's basketball game back when Bob Rondo was calling them and we had Christian Velp and, just like these guys loomed very large in my mind because when there wasn't a Sonics game, I was going to definitely be listening to the Husky men's game. And Detlef Schrempf was a Husky, and I'd never heard of anyone with a name like Detlef Schrempf playing basketball, certainly playing for my beloved the college team. I hadn't gone to the UW yet, but it loomed large.
Have you heard of anybody named Detlef Schrempf doing anything else either? I would assume that you haven't heard a lot of people with that name, generally speaking.
I'd literally never heard the word Detlef or the word Schrempf. So it was all very new to me, but he was great. He was a really good Husky, and I think what it was is I think he went to the Mavs right out of college. So then I lost track of him a little bit, and then he comes back and he ends up playing for the Sonics. So this is, to me, sort of local boy makes good, Germany by way of Montlake, by way of being back with like an epic Sonics team. This was like kind of the Sonics dream team when we had Gary Payton and Sean Kemp, and it was just such a fun team. And we had Kevin Calabro calling these games with he was just the best, I don't know, phrasing, get on up for the downstroke. He would call Sam Perkins Big Paper Daddy, which I think I had the origins of that totally wrong. Somebody might have enlightened me on that. But all this is to say, Detlef Schrempf has just kind of been a name that's been in my brain for many, many years now. Now, when I mentioned this to you the other day, you said that's also the inspiration for what you think of as one of your better internet memes that you've created.
Which I just remembered now, because every time you say Detlef Schrempf, I think of this thing, and I couldn't remember where I posted it. I thought I posted it on my old Instagram, but that didn't seem right. And I'm just remembering now, and I'm just about to hack into it. I made this during an episode of TBTL years ago of Detlef Schrempf, or maybe I made it as a show pic of him like on the court, but I replaced his head with a big shrimp, like shrimp cocktail, which is the obvious joke, but I was so proud of my photoshopping on this thing, and I'm gonna, if I can find this, I'm gonna make it the show.
Would you say was it a Perkins level?
It was so
internet
much better.
comedy event.
It was so much better. Well, I mean, it's Perkins level in the lack of reaction from people who are not ready to be on my level, apparently.
Yes,
but
get on his level. You can't get on his level.
But,
people have asked not to get on his level.
I think I'm close to finding that. I will make it the show pick if I can find it, and I'll send it to you as well.
Well, so I don't know if it's just through me occasionally considering the existence of Detlef Schrempf, or maybe because recently he was honored at Montlake, where the Husky basketball arena is. They were honoring him as a Husky legend. I don't know if they were retiring his number or just having like Detlef night. But, and one other thing that I will throw in just as a side note. So my ex, Carrie, worked for a while at a company that was like an investment company, which was where Detlef also worked. And she said he was the most awesome dude that
I have
one
heard
could
that
work with.
too. I think Genevieve maybe had some interactions with him at some sort of function related to her job. And same deal, that just he's a prince, right?
Absolutely great guy, and just like, just down to earth, as down to earth as you can be at 6'7" or whatever his height is, which by the way comes into this next thing. So for some reason, I wasn't following him, but like Detlef Schrempf's Instagram feed has started to kind of like just sort of be suggested for me in a way, or whatever. It's coming up in my timeline, even though I'm not following him, whatever you call that phenomenon. And what I've noticed is it seems like the main content he posts is how much legroom he's dealing with on any particular flight.
Yes.
As a very tall individual. And it's what's really funny is, well, first of all, I mean, he's Detlef. He is like, to me, he is like he's not even a local hero. He's a national hero of sorts. And the idea that he appears to be spending more of his time in coach than first class on these flights is remarkably relatable to me. And what he really seems to be kind of tracking in a way that only Broadcast Barry and I mean, if I can get Detlef to start to be on a text chain with me and Broadcast Barry, we would be like a great triumvirate, because this is what Barry and I are always talking about, is like, if we're going to get upgraded, what flight we're on, what the chances are when we don't get upgraded, when we do. That seems to be mostly what he's doing on his page, is just taking a picture of how close his knees have to be to the seat in front of him when he's in coach. And by the way, none of this is done as a complaint. Like, I think he was flying somewhere after his being honored at the University of Washington, and it was a picture of him, obviously in coach, and he said something like, well, with this last-minute booking and full first class, I ended up in coach. It's no problem. I'll just have to go to my happy place. And I just imagine Detlef just mind over mattering. Like, I'm 6'7", and I'm on a long flight, and that's just, this is the reality of my life. I'm in coach. I have very long legs, but this is it. I'm going to go to my happy place. And what I was so touched by this, or so tickled by this whole thing, that I then replied to him, which is, again, I don't know why it is that I feel like if I reply to somebody who I admire, it's being pick me or try hard. Like, what I'm about to say next is going to sound like a real slam, Andrew, but like, if you posted something on Instagram that I was interested in, I would absolutely respond to it, and I wouldn't feel like I was being cringe, because I'd be like, that's my friend Andrew.
Well, yeah, we have a relationship. Yeah, no, that's...
I mean, that must be part of it. It's just like, so what I am not is a person who you will generally see in the comment section of somebody who is higher than me on the social status, because it feels like I'm trying to, like, I don't know, maybe I'm trying to, it's mostly just a hang up that I have with myself. But it totally, like, I was so tickled by this post from Detlef, and I felt like it was so kind of in my world of sky jinxing and obsessing about where I am on the plane. And I think I wrote something like, this is a really good kind of reframing for those of us who are a mere 6 feet and who are obsessed over if they get upgraded or not. Go dogs. That's what I said.
Go dogs. You can also sometimes one way of maybe uncringing that is actually, instead of replying, you can repost it, and that way you're kind of like, you could have reposted his thing with your message at the top, and then you're still
Didn't even occur to me.
Because I know what you mean, and I've done this. I kind of have my baseball buds on Blue Sky or whatever. But I mean, I think especially, and I think you and I are both very aware of this, as most people should be, that like, especially if it's a woman and you're kind of like,
absolutely not.
Women get a lot of attention, and you're just kind of like, and you're trying to like jump on a joke or improve a joke, or I mean, I'm sure many times the intentions are good. I just want to riff here, but there's something especially cringe about it when it's like a guy kind of trying to, hop into a woman's, replies.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, I'm trying to think if I have ever. It must have happened at some point, but it's almost possible that I've literally never responded to a post from a woman, except maybe some friend of ours or something, but definitely not a woman that I don't know on the internet. There's nothing I can offer in that conversation that will be worth it for me to risk coming off as a creeper. But so I'm going back to this exact post from Herr Shrimp. He said, no luck today with a full plane and a late booking. Just got to go to my happy place. Smiley emoji at Alaska Air. But what I'm noticing is, so there's 9 comments. The top one is still me with no response to it. None from Det, none from any of the other people. There is a response from Alaska Air, the official Alaska Air account, and it says, at Detlef Shrimp, we appreciate your loyalty. And then a emoji of some of the kissing, the emoji's doing a kiss and it's a heart. Which,
fresh.
First of all, a little bit fresh. Second of all, I don't think I get that kind of response from Alaska Airlines when I'm posting. He's got another one. Okay, let's see here. Oh, I think he's in first class for this one. He says, glad I changed to a later flight. Oh, and moved off from a middle seat. So he was clearly, middle seat for Herr Shrimp. That's just, come on, give me a break. I once did fly across the country with a Seattle Supersonic. It was our center. His name was Calvin Booth. Not just someone who probably got assassinated in the 1800s, but a current existence. Doesn't that name Calvin Booth just sound like our fourth and a half president?
Yeah, definitely.
We don't talk about.
And you said a duel, right? Did you say a duel? Because it definitely has dual connotations.
Yeah, or something, but like we don't, it's like the forgotten president, Calvin Booth.
Yes.
No, this dude was a center, I think, for the Sonics. Unfortunately, he had a decent career. It didn't quite. I think we had traded for him and we had high hopes. But I one time saw him I think we were flying from like DC to Seattle, and he was taller than Detlef. He was straight up in coach, and I was like, my guy. But again, mad respect for somebody who probably has the resources. But it's just, deciding their financial life the way they want to. Anyway, we got another post here from Detlef. I mean, this really is his main content. I didn't plan this. I didn't plan to scroll this. He says, still recovering from the Seahawks game, but I'm ready to go at Alaska Air. And oh no, this one's first class because it has a little footrest. Okay. Nice. This is mostly what I'm now clocking is how often is Detlef Shrimp in first class versus how often am I in first class?
Do you know what's interesting about that footrest?
Better success rate.
Yeah, I would guess. You know what the interesting thing about that footrest is, Luke? Because it's very, very rare that I fly first class, but on the occasion I have, I noticed that they have those little footrests. It actually is sort of kind of hangs off the chair or unfolds from the chair in front of you or the seat in front of you, I should say.
It clicks down kind of, and then you can click it up.
And, well, maybe the technology has changed somewhat, but the ones that I had used were exactly like the ones that are also on Greyhound buses. And I just think that it's interesting. You don't get it in coach. Like this particular style of footrest is either at the highest level of travel or the lowest level of travel, but nothing in between.
No, you're absolutely right. I think when you're in first class, there's just enough leg room that it's a comfortable experience. But if you were in coach,
it'd be in the way.
It would almost be crimping or cramping the amount of leg room. So there's no reason for it. Plus, again, it's just one more thing for them to do maintenance on. What is kind of funny, you want to talk about it. Hyper niche observation. I don't even think Detlef or Broadcast Barry will go with me on this, but not every first class cabin of Alaska Airlines has the footrest. In fact, it's kind of rare in these days with, I guess, the way the planes are remodeled. By the way, I'm agnostic on the footrest. Like I can't decide if it's better to have it or not have it. It's certainly not to me like an obvious improvement. Like just being in first class is a huge improvement and you can stretch your legs out. You're fine. I don't know if you need that clicky thing, but sometimes we'll be taking off and maybe I happen to be in first class and they don't have those footrests. And the person on the airplane, the flight attendant will say, or we're about to take off and they'll say, please, put your tray tables up and put your phones away. If you're in first class, please put your footrests up. And I looked down and I was like, this is not a plane with footrests.
Oh, they were just on autopilot.
They're on autopilot. I mean, ironically, so is the plane once you're at cruising altitude. But it's just like, I almost feel like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get eyes on what kind of plane we're on. And so, to me, there's a level of awareness from knowing that this is what plane you're on and if it has that thing or not when you're making the announcement. Or there's also just I'm reading the script. I'm reading what they tell me. It doesn't matter. Like I like it when they know that there aren't footrests and therefore do not instruct us to put the footrests up.
Yeah, or like when a server says, have a nice meal and you say, you too.
Oh my gosh, Andrew. This Instagram feed just keeps getting better. January 1st, Detlef Shrimp. He's cramped on a plane. There's a picture of his knees almost hitting the seat.
What's he doing? Just almost hitting the seat? How could it? I mean, I am hitting the seat hardcore, and I'm not. But
you have don't you have weirdly long femurs?
I think my femur. I think it does have something to do.
You
with
might
it,
have the femurs of a much bolder woman.
Yeah, maybe.
And so maybe you and Detlef, maybe you have similar femurs.
I just find it hard to believe because you said his are almost touching. I was thinking like a man that tall must be either having to choose, I'm going to squeeze them to the left or the right of the seat in front of me.
Well, here's another thing. I can't quite tell from this plane. He might be in first class on this one. There's not an obvious indicator, but that would explain why there's a little bit more room. But here's what he's saying, January 1st. Picture of him on the plane with his knees saying, I'm starting my quest for 100K miler on the first morning of the year. And I'm just like, there's something about this guy who I grew up idolizing for his basketball skills, being and again, he's actually got a better reason for it than I do, but being equally nerding out on this same topic that I do, like just right out there in the open for everyone. Like you would assume he's a very wealthy individual at this point, and then, might just fly first class and think nothing of it. Or I don't know, just like this idea of him just openly caring this much about if he is in first class or isn't, or what his Alaska status is, or it's very relatable to me.
The important thing is, how would you feel about naming the show "You Give Me Femur"?
Femur in the morning, femur all through the day.
Hey, we have a guest who's probably waiting for us to call. We got to thank the dazzling donors, but let
wow.
me just
Time
say
flies
this.
when you're having fun.
I was listening to satellite radio. I love satellite radio. I'm doing an imitation.
Is that your impression of that drop from yesterday?
Yes, the one where
what's that from? I always feel like when
from
he
the
finally
movie Bad Teacher, which I've never seen, but Genevieve loves Bad Teacher, and it's Thomas Lennon.
Cameron
I wanna say.
Diaz.
Yeah, and is it Thomas Lennon?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I've never seen the movie, but I like that it's Thomas Lennon because I find Tom Lennon to be really awesome and likable and not creepy, but I always feel like the last word that person says feels creepy to me.
Yeah.
Now that I know it's Thomas Lennon, it uncreeps it, so that's
I'm
good.
pretty sure we could double.
I'm going to trust
we
you on
could
that.
double check this.
I'm looking at
Do you have any
that little
music,
shrimp.
Carl?
Have the internet radio.
Oh yeah, definitely. him.
Internet radio.
You've come to the right place because I have that.
Because I have that.
Oh wait, that's not what I was thinking of.
Oh, that's why I
There
was
was
saying
another-
I love satellite radio.
There was another drop in the intro package from yesterday's show where someone, oh, you know what it is? It's the guy talking about treating yourself. Every day, do one thing.
Oh, that's Kyle MacLachlan from Twin Peaks.
Definitely sounds like he's being a little suggestive.
Oh no, that we've talked about that before. That's just his his cup of coffee. Enjoy
vibe.
your black cup of coffee, or enjoy your hot
Yes.
cup of coffee, kind of.
All right, so was this was your way? I mean, I don't have anything else to say about that.
What was I going to say?
And we are going to
though?
name it
Satellite
Femur.
Radio. Oh, it doesn't really matter. But are you familiar at all? I bet you Susie would. Maybe we get Susie on the show on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
You know that song Fever? It's very, very sexy.
Yes.
I mean, I think Eartha Kitt might have done it. I think Madonna did a version. It's oft covered.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to the radio and I heard I am not an Elvis guy. I don't know if you can tell from my vibe that I'm not an Elvis guy. I don't really have a lot of thoughts on Elvis. But he does a version of that song that I thought was some sort of a remix. Are you familiar with and it's called like Fever / something else? Are you familiar with
No.
Elvis's version of Fever?
I don't think I am. And by the way, I'm looking at, it might have been a song before this, but definitely looks like Peggy Lee was maybe in the early days of doing it, which kind of checks out if you think about the singing of the early versions of it. Who originally sang the song Fever? Says it was originally somebody named Little Willie John.
Okay, that's the original version. And I might have been making up.
No.
Eartha
Did
Kitt.
Elvis sing the song Fever?
Oh.
And looks like definitely he did.
Okay. See, this is where I'm getting confused. He has a song called Fever, but then he's got another one because I Shazammed it to figure out what it was called.
Ah, yes.
And it's called Craw Fever, CRAW Fever.
So is it like a crawdad fever that
I
he's
don't
having?
know, and I don't know if maybe he did an original version.
Was it
and
off
then
of
this
Creole King, maybe?
I
think he was in a
know what
movie
this
called
is?
Creole King. Is this
You
one of
know
those
what this is?
R2J2 remixes? A little list.
I don't know if it's
type of deals?
R2G2, but you know what it is? It is. I did not even remember this, and I think maybe. Oh yeah, you interviewed the dude from this. I think this might have been a modern remix because when I type it in, I get Elvis, a film by Baz Luhrmann, which would explain why this
LOL.
feels.
I did interview him.
It sounds so modern. Here, let me see if I can find. I know we're gonna get pulled down.
Yeah.
And I was
Wow.
listening to this, and I was like, I cannot believe this is Elvis from the 60s. It sounded like a remix, but then I couldn't. I was like, it doesn't seem to be listed as a remix, but I see that it's from the Baz Luhrmann film, so clearly this has been bozzed up.
What were you listening to that just delivered you this particular song? Because it sounds like it was like, algorithmic in some way.
Yeah, no, it was satellite radio. So I was probably flipping
satellite radio.
Oh, good, because I have that. That's one of those things where I say that to myself, or me and V's will say that to each other, and like I get it so wrong all the time. But we're always like, I love internet radio. Okay, good, because I got that. To be honest with you, and we don't have to get in. The answer is not that interesting, but I believe the Elvis dedicated radio station is in between a couple of other radio stations that I frequent. And I'll be honest, while I'm not much of an Elvis guy, already established, I I will sometimes stop on that if there's a song playing, and this one caught my ear because, again, it sounded so modern, and now we understand why.
Well, what we have learned is you are a Baz Luhrmann guy.
I guess so.
Or at least the music from the Baz Luhrmann movies.
I'm Baz to the bone.
We was hoping for some razzle-dazzle.
Razzle-dazzle.
That's right, man. Razzle-dazzle.
On your mark.
On your mark.
Get set.
Get set.
Now ready.
Ready. Go.
Everybody razzle dazzle.
All right, let's thank our dazzling donors of the day. This is where we read a little message from somebody who's been donating a truly dazzling amount of dough. And, well, we couldn't do this show without folks like Jolene Tashner. That's Jolene, like the song. Tashner, the C is silent. And Jolene is in Portland, Oregon.
Now, I don't know if this is going to come up in the message. I really don't because I haven't read ahead. But if I am remembering the right Jolene, I think Jolene is an amazing photographer. I think we used to be Instagram friends. I'm looking this up here.
I think that comes up in the message.
Okay,
Andrew.
good. Then I will stop.
So you're thinking of the same
time.
Jolene.
Jolene. You're amazing.
Jolene. I'm sorry. I apologize. That is...
She's probably never heard it before.
It's a big part of your life if your name is Jolene. Hey, Jolene says, long-time donor, first-time dazzler. I'd like to start by giving a shout-out to Stephanie at Frequently Taxed Questions.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, that's our friend who's also a 10 and a donor.
In Brooklyn,
I found her through her own dazzling donor message, and she's been giving me lots of valuable financial advice, including cluing me in that my donations count as an advertising expense and I can write it off on my taxes if I use this message to promote my business.
Great.
So here goes. This may be a little niche, but I'm a photo retoucher. Basically, I use Photoshop to make pictures look their best. A lot of my work comes from big corporate clients like Apple and Nike. So if you're a creative director or photographer, I specialize in making products look amazing, and I'm always looking for new commercial clients. By the way, the last 2 days, we've been really playing in the photography space. Yesterday, we had Joe's husband's business with the disposable cameras. Today, we've got Jolene's photography retouching business.
Yeah, I see what you're doing.
If you'd like to, she said, I'd also like to branch out, though, and see what I can do to help out the 10s improve their photos, too. Feel free to use your best infomercial announcer voice. Okay, sorry, I'll do that again. Let's see. What part of the sentence would I kick that in for?
This next
improve
one here, I
their
think.
photos.
Got a work headshot?
Oh,
you really?
yeah, nice.
Yeah, so move on. Go ahead.
Go for it.
No,
Go for
you
it.
do. You do it.
You were in the
didn't-
zone. You were in the zone.
That's all I have. Okay.
Got a work headshot? You.
We're like
All right.
two Seattle
Alternate.
drivers at an intersection
100
who
you go.
arrived at the stop sign at the
You go,
exact
no, you
same.
go.
No, you go. This is dangerous. Luke, keep driving.
Got a work headshot you really don't like but can't reshoot? Or maybe a selfie where you love the way you look and you want the background changed so you can use it on your LinkedIn or Slack profile pic? Do your engagement or wedding photos need a little zhuzhing up? Want some annoying distractions in the background of your photos? Or maybe an X or two taken out? Or maybe you have an old family photo that's fading or had something spilled on it or has been cracked or torn. I can help you with any of those things. I'll do my best to work with any budget, and I'm totally open to doing barters and trades too. So that's the pitch. That's, man.
I have
Should almost-
3 raw salmon and 1 cooked salmon. Actually, that's
For barter.
That's the stuff you trade in Minecraft with a villager, and which is something I was just learning recently. But I assume that Jolene doesn't take those.
I don't know. A nice raw salmon, a nice line caught raw salmon. That might not be something she'd turn her nose up at. Jolene says, I worked as a photographer before transitioning to retouching full time, and I still do a bit of that for fun and commercially for people I know and like. So if you'd like me to shoot your portrait, event, or product in the Portland, Oregon area, I'm open to that as well. You can find my work at Jolene Tash. Wait, the N is silent, right? We have it right
No,
there.
the C is silent.
The C is silent. The T is silent. No. Let's see. So Tashner is how we're saying this. Jolene Tashner, but let me spell that too. Jolene. That's the Jolene part. The Tashner part is TASCHNER.com. Or you can send me an email at jolenetashner@gmail.com, or on Instagram, it's at jol.e.ne. Love to all my Insta10 friendos, and I enjoy seeing all their photos too, even if we've never met in real life. So give me an ad there, and I'll follow you back. I know Meta is terrible, but I really like seeing and sharing pictures. Andrew, I miss seeing you too.
Oh, look at that. Oh, thanks, Joe.
Yeah. And a heartfelt thank you to the boys for keeping me company all these years. Listening to TBTL really is a bright spot in my day. Cheers, Jolene.
Let me tag one more thing on here too. Now, Jolene didn't say that, and this is not Jolene approved. I don't know for sure if this is affecting her, and I would apologize if what I'm about to say is totally off base. But I will say this. I know people who work in not this specific field, but various creative fields that are related to this, and it is tough out there with the AI, Luke. Everybody thinks that they can just have the computers do it, and hey, AI, take this thing out, and it's not going to be
No,
the
it looks
same.
like shit.
It looks.
And I'll say
thank
that.
you.
That's, by the way, that's Jolene approved for me to say shit during the message.
Let me quote Jolene directly when I say, that shit looks like shit. And having a real person do this creative endeavor for you makes all the difference in the world. Plus, I know as tens, we want to support our 10 friends as well. But please, now more than ever.
Absolutely. And you know, it really is. There is something, and let's cling to these last few hours of this, but there is something that is still uncanny and noticeable to me when something has been AI-ified, whether it's allegedly, building out the side parts of the world of the photo, or, I mean, and this isn't so much AI, but just filters on things, and just all of this stuff that is supposed to be an easy automated way to improve something. Most of it still doesn't pass the eye test for me, which is where Jolene comes in, doing good, hard, honest labor around these photos. So thank you, Jolene. We really do appreciate it. Maestro?
On your mark. Get set. Get set. Now ready. Ready. Go. Everybody rattle, dazzle.
We're getting a strong response from the Valley of the Sun these days, Andrew, because
look at this.
It's Julie Lim in Phoenix, Arizona.
Hey, Julie.
Julie says, I'm a longtime listener, but I can't quite remember how I fell into listening to the pod. If I had to guess, I would say it was from Luke's appearances on Wait, Wait. Golly, thank goodness for old Wait, Wait.
Yeah.
That is commonly something that I will hear if I ask somebody, I meet them out in the world, how'd you hear about the show? And they would say, I heard them saying something like TBTL on Wait, Wait for 1 to 9 years. And eventually I just thought, all right, what is that? And now here I am.
Exactly.
So I'm glad
that repetition.
that worked.
Eventually, I do believe that repetition and promotions like that makes a difference. Like, you could hear TBTL for like 15 consecutive shows, and then probably by the 16th one, you're like, fine, I'll figure out what this is.
And Julie did, and aren't we glad for that? Julie says, anyway, TBTL is my all-purpose mood booster.
Aww.
When I'm sad, TBTL cheers me up. When I'm happy, TBTL makes me happier. I've been more sad lately than I usually am, so I'm glad to have the show in my podcatcher. Well, Julie, whatever it is that's got you feeling that way, whether it's the general state of everything or something more specific for you, I really, really hope that that's not the feeling that's driving you to TBTL for too much longer. But glad that, maybe it's making things feel a little bit less bad. Julie says, appreciate the TENS community as well. No mountain too tall. Signed, Juliet Lim out there in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. I guess we've mixed. I know we've got to get Genevieve on the line here. I guess we kind of missed our window. Arizona always has me thinking of spring training. I don't think we can't book a last-minute trip down to spring training probably at this point.
No, I don't think
probably
so.
Be kind of tough.
Be a little bit late. Plus, I'm about to get out of here. I'm heading out to Hawaii.
Yeah. All right. Well, must be nice. Some of us are taking trips to tropical paradises. Some of us are working away in Chicago. But that's fine. Whatever gets the show done.
We all make our own decisions.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks so much for the support. Well, we couldn't do this without you.
Hello and welcome to Top Story.
Well, our top story today is really sort of another TikTok in this narrative that has been captivating me and the TBTL listeners over the last few weeks, which started with this, I just keep calling it Speed 4, where Andrew and Genevieve went on a wild journey to try to retrieve Genevieve's cell phone from a bus in Seattle and managed to actually triangulate it and get to the bus and get the thing back. But in order to chase this bus down, you guys ended up driving into some bus lanes that are very much only for buses. And so a while later, this ticket shows up in the mail from one of those like auto cameras, and now the question is, how are you guys going to wriggle out of this? And to help us talk about that is the person who I think is wrongfully accused in this matter, and that's the one and only Genevieve. Hi, Vives. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I mean, first of all, I don't know if I got to talk to you ever about this whole adventure on the bus. I think maybe, was that just you, Andrew, telling us about it? Or
Yeah, I don't know if you, Vives has not been on the show since this has all gone down. I don't know if you guys had a conversation at the Eagles during some sort of a.
We mostly talk
NFL
about woodworking in a side chat with Roden, but
yeah, absolutely.
But so, I mean, that's just a crazy story. I can't believe that y'all actually got the phone and that worked out. But if I have this right, Genevieve, Andrew was driving and you were navigating.
Yes, we had. It was so. I mean, I didn't pop in as I sometimes do, but I did eavesdrop on Andrew telling the story the day after it happened.
Now, did you actually hear? Did you
door.
Listen to the podcast, or did you just heard my side of the conversation?
I just heard your side of the story
through the door. Okay.
Did you feel like he was getting the broad strokes right?
Oh, I think he got it all right. Yeah, nice. I think the one thing he missed was that we ended up at Pike Place. That's where we finally caught the bus. But yeah, so it was crazy. I mean, I'm so amazed that Andrew just really, like, the last thing he ever wants to do at the end of the day. I don't know if you were already in your tonight pants or not, Andrew, but like, I know that it's very against your principles to leave the house again after the sun has set. But you were like, yeah, let's get in the car, let's go get it. So we turned your hotspot on so that I would have, and I had my laptop on my lap, and then on the laptop, which was still connected to the internet, I had two windows open, and I was having to move between them. One was the phone, which was like, just because I have a Google phone and everything in my life is Google, I have it set up for Find My Phone. So it was finding my phone, and it was like showing it. I would refresh it, and it would go, I would see like, okay, now it's like another 2 blocks south, and it's still definitely on the 40 because I can tell where it is on the route. But then to see where we were and to try to outflank the bus, which was our goal, was to try to cut it off so that we would be at a stop before the bus arrived and I could like get on the bus from the stop. Trying to do that, I had another tab open that had our location on just a Google map. So that's where I was trying to see, like, okay, we're on this road, and if I know that the 40, like I had the 40, like, the route, I said, show me the 40 route on the map, and it showed me the route. So now I'm trying to cut off the bus. But if we'd started probably like, if I'd realized that my phone was missing probably like 5 minutes earlier, maybe we could have somehow cut it off before it crossed the bridge. But as it was, we couldn't do that, so we just had to keep chasing it, and that's what took us into the heart of downtown Seattle, where eventually you get into a bus lane. And I don't even know if we knew. We were so focused because we saw the bus when we were still on surface streets that we were allowed to drive on, but we couldn't get in front of it, and we didn't know exactly where it was going to stop next. So all we could do was just try to keep sight of it, and that's when we just blindly turned into a bus lane.
Can I just say, I wasn't thinking about bus lanes at all until after you'd already retrieved your phone. And the irony here is, Vives, and I don't know if you realize this, but the moment I realized we were in an area where it wasn't just a bus lane, but it was all bus lanes. Oops, all bus lanes. It was like an area where like no cars are allowed at all.
Yeah.
Like the streets are literally painted red with, bus only signs. And when I realized we were in there was after you had your phone, and we are pulled up next to the bus driver who just gave you your phone back, and you're leaning out the passenger side of your best friend's ride, taking a photo of that bus driver waving at you, like, yay, we're all happy here. While you were taking that photo is probably when the police were taking a photo of us.
Probably.
Well, that answered my question, because I was curious, Andrew, if you had a sense, you did not know that you were doing something illegal because you were so fixated on the bus at that point.
I was too fixated. I didn't realize until afterwards. I'm like, whoa, where am I? Like, literally, I was just like, where am I? I'm not supposed to be here.
Well, so then you guys get this like ticket in the mail from one of those auto cameras because you were, violating the law technically, although I think not the spirit of the law. I serve the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law myself. And I think the spirit
In
of the law,
what way
once
does
you...
the spirit of the law support me just getting my phone back due to my own incompetence of losing it?
Well, that's a really, really ungenerous interpretation of the situation. As a person who regularly leaves things around and makes it other people's problems, I think we should all be rooting for people to be reunited with their stuff, even if a little law breaking goes down.
Well, that is my hope, is that the powers that be are going to be rooting for that.
Okay, so speaking of, what's the current status with your ticket and how you sort of have responded and what might happen next? Where are we at with this?
Well, I got the ticket, and it did have the photos, but it even said, as some listeners have pointed out and some friends of ours have pointed out, it said on the ticket, like, this is not a moving violation. It will not, like, affect your insurance or your licensure, I think, is somehow something like what it said. So I knew that's a relief, because it's a $75 ticket, which I would prefer not to pay, or not to pay all of, obviously, but also $75 as the price of being reunited with my phone is, I think, a price I'm certainly willing to pay if I have to.
That's interesting.
I was actually wondering about that. Yeah. Depending on where you are with your most recent upgrade, and like, you know, if that's the kind of thing where that actually nets out to you to be a savings.
It does. I mean, it's an older phone, and it's not it's not an iPhone, but it's still worth more than $75, and it certainly would cost me more than $75 to replace it. Right. So I got the ticket. I was relieved to see that it wasn't something that I'm going to have to deal with my insurance about, a moving violation is bad, and I have not had one of those in, over a decade at least. So that's good. And we didn't know the thing about if it's basically the equivalent of a parking ticket, it doesn't matter who was at the wheel because it's just your car, and I guess I'm just listed first on the title. We share the title, so it's ultimately it's our responsibility as the owners of the car. But I did think, well, it's kind of an interesting story, and I'm always sort of interested in an opportunity to plead my case if I feel like there might be some. I literally said, do you want to mitigate this? I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I want to do. I want this to be mitigated. I feel like there are mitigating circumstances. I wasn't just stupidly driving into the bus lane because I'm an idiot. There were circumstances. So I just thought, well, there's literally a box I can check that I can put this back in the mail, and we can keep having a conversation, me and the Department of Licensing or whatever, Department of Traffic. So I just checked the mitigating box. The mitigating box says, I acknowledge that I did this crime, but I would like a chance to explain why I did this crime, because I think you'll find it enlightening. So I haven't heard back. So I haven't heard back from the tickets. I haven't heard back about whether I'm when my court date is, if I get a court date, but I assume that they have to give me one if I ask for mitigation.
That's interesting.
I will go in and do it.
You sent that in a while ago. Is there a chance that it just gets lost in the shuffle?
I work for a bureaucracy, and I can tell you things get lost all the time. So anything's possible. But I think it's just that, as in any bureaucracy, the wheels turn slowly, and it's working its way through the system. I really expect to get another letter at some point saying, "Here's your court date."
The wheels on the justice go round and round, round and round,
exactly.
But kind of slowly.
What I really wish I could do is know who the bus driver was, and I wish I'd made a note to, because I have a little picture of him, but you can't really see him. I wish that I could call him.
Could you have submitted that as evidence?
An exonerating witness.
Oh my God! Exhibit A, Genevieve, you have to print that out really big, and we'll take it and we'll put it on one of those easels.
Yeah, one of those big piece of foam core.
Yes, I love this.
So
I have a strong feeling there's no jury involved, unfortunately.
But some magistrate who, probably doesn't have a heart of stone. I think you coming in and going, yes, we shouldn't have been in this lane, but these were the mitigating circumstances.
But
and look,
put yourself in my shoes. We could see the bus.
And look who wasn't even mad at us, a bus driver.
Yeah, the bus driver whose lane we were, impinging upon.
Yes. What you're doing here, Genevieve, is you're kind of going with like you said, mitigating circumstances. You're sort of throwing yourself at the mercy of the court. You're saying, yes, I did this, but there was a reason. See, I was kind of hoping, as a scoundrel and as a person who's gotten out of multiple kind of traffic cam tickets, I was hoping that there was a way to go, I wasn't driving and I cannot tell you who was driving. But which I've done many times. But you know what? I just now realize the difference is it's the category of ticket. So like if you get a running a yellow light ticket or I got one for not coming to a complete stop near Alderwood. Have you ever heard of this as a thing? The camera can check the speed on your car so that if it never goes to zero, turning right on a red, it gets you for not fully complete stop. So not that I was speeding, just that I did that move where, California stop.
A rolling
or
stop.
They call it.
Yeah.
A rolling stop.
Well, I am shocked that going into a bus lane is not considered a moving violation. Like, it seems to me to be actually quite, not that I don't think we endangered anybody, but there are very good reasons for traffic flow and safety to not have civilian cars in the bus lane. I'm as you know, I'm a militant public transit advocate, and I'm here, and that's the other thing. I would never intentionally plan to screw with the bus lanes, but as we were just in the heat of the moment trying to get that phone back, and when you can see the bus that the phone is on, it was so tantalizing. So even if I had sort of thought we can't turn, even if I'd been conscious that we were turning into a bus lane, I think I would have said just go for it. We'll deal with it later. But in the event, we really weren't even, I think, aware that that's what was happening. But yeah, I am shocked that it's not a moving violation because it is your move. For one thing, you are literally moving in a bus lane, and for another, there are legitimate public interest reasons to not have people driving in bus lanes.
Yeah, the irony is that it would have, if your interest is strictly in potentially getting out of the ticket, it might have been better for you if it was a moving violation, because then the question is who was the operator of the vehicle, and then
that actually
not that you
is
would.
true, yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
You could then you could refuse to disclose the information that it was Andrew, which wouldn't be a lie. And then you could maybe just cause their whole legal system to just melt down on itself. But because this is more like a parking ticket, they don't even give you that option.
Now, we got some information from a friend of ours, a friend of all three of ours, and a dear friend of the show who will remain nameless right now.
Is it Bingo?
But a friend who has a lot of the same tendencies as one Luke Burbank.
Oh, so a cool friend.
And let's just say somebody who might be able to get down on a text chain with you and Detlef Shrimp, Luke. Let's just say that would be how I describe this friend.
Sure. I'm picturing them.
This person had not heard our latest installment on this when we made it clear that we learned it wasn't a moving violation. This person texted me and Genevieve yesterday, said, "Hey, I'm just catching up on some TBTL. I heard about the ticket you got on 3rd Avenue. If you haven't already sent in the response, you don't have to pay it. I can send you," and this is classic this guy.
Person.
"I can send you a form to fill out saying that you weren't in possession of your vehicle, no questions asked, and they will release you without any liability. No matter what, it won't be a moving violation. Seattle and Washington State are not allowed to give you a moving violation unless you were actually caught by a police officer. This will not go on your record." So a lot of that we didn't know. But of course, this nameless person that nobody would be able to figure out who we're talking about there has a form ready to go, just saying, "It wasn't me."
Built in Canva?
It wasn't me. Yeah, just I have no idea.
Canva.shaggy.
Yeah, Canva.shaggy.
Is that a show title? We were doing, yeah.
And anyway, but Genevieve had to be well, I've already sent in the ticket. We're going to go for mitigation here. But apparently, there is a form you can just fill out. Just say I have no idea where my car was. You can't compel me to say.
To me, even for me, that feels a little
bold,
pushing it, bold, because I was perfectly comfortable when I got those tickets and you couldn't make out my face. I also do a thing where I do a John Cena move where I literally hold my hand in front of my face if I'm going through an intersection, which I know sounds dangerous, but only because it is.
Because know you're breaking the law in these cases?
On the off chance, if it's a yellow light and it's an intersection that has the, mounted cameras, I might, if I'm wearing a baseball cap, I might pull it down a little bit. I might put my hand up or flop my visor down. I'm going to do something that maybe makes it a little less likely that the camera gets a clear pic of me.
I don't know if this is relevant to anyone's interest, but I recently watched an episode of Columbo where the killer tried to have his alibi be that he was caught by a speeding camera, but it was his accomplice who was wearing a mask of his face.
Genevieve?
Someone in a Dabney Coleman mask?
Exactly.
Yes.
This was the episode. Genevieve, I have been talking about this Dabney Coleman episode on
He will
TBTL
not shut up about this.
since we watched it on Sunday night. I respected the audience enough not to give the spoiler away that somebody was wearing a mask of his. But how ironic is it that this is...
I would love to see a Dabney Coleman mask.
This is all... And they just... The thing was, the way they got caught, since Genevieve just spoiled the whole thing anyway, is it was a very rudimentary Dabney Coleman mask. This wasn't like we're jumping out of an airplane and we're gonna rob a bank.
Is this a point break reference?
Yes, exactly. This was somebody printing out a flat image of Dabney Coleman's character's face, then her strapping it to her face, and so Columbo noticed that the shadows of his nose weren't right because it was just a photo, a flat photo of his face. But Genevieve, don't you think that we must have remarked upon this when we were watching that episode the other night, but it feels like destiny that you and I watched that particular episode as you prepare your legal briefs, no?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to say that claiming that I didn't even have the car, I'm fine with saying I wasn't driving, which, by the way, every time I've said that has been a lie. I'm comfortable saying I wasn't driving, and I will not fill in the part of the form. I've also never tried this in front of a human magistrate or judge. I've only tried it through the sort of the U.S. mail system, right, of the form. So I've gone with check this box and then write this questionable
sentence. You can lie to a piece
into
of paper. I mean, that doesn't feel like anything.
Easily. Were I to go into any kind of legal building though, and then look at the person and say I don't know where my car was or something, I would be harder for me. I think I could still say, I think I could still.
What if they ask a follow-up, well, how did you get your car back, sir? What did you do when you got it back?
I don't see how that's relevant to this case, Your Honor.
And there's now, Vives, let me ask you this too. This is kind of, I guess it's related to all of this because you talked about how you're interested in pleading your case. I feel like I have a lot of unexpressed lawyer energy, maybe from watching legal dramas, maybe from thinking I could have been an okay
animating
lawyer.
This for me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because you would be a phenomenal attorney.
I did mock trial in high school, which I was very excited about.
Mock trial with Jay Reinhold?
Mock trial with Jay Reinhold. And I was definitely I definitely have a lot of lawyer Genevieve energy, pent up lawyer energy. And I'm not trying to lie here. Like I said, they give you the option to ask for mitigating circumstances.
Yes.
I feel that I have, if nothing else, an interesting and entertaining story for the court. And I think that they should, as compensation for my taking time to go and tell my story, at least cut the ticket in half, if not waive it altogether.
What is it? Did we say how much it is? I can't remember.
It's $75.
$75. Oh, yeah. We get it down to $37.
I was just telling Becca this the other day because she lives in a neighborhood that has a lot of parking supervision, and so she'll get tickets now and then. And I'm like, you might as well just challenge it, not in a untruthful way, because I feel like it used to be, and this was a long time ago, but it used to be that they would usually just take half off just out of principle. You know what? You wanted to.
Yeah. If you want to fight it, it's sort of a negotiation in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
So they make an initial offer. We offer to ask you for $75, and I say, well, that doesn't seem great to me. What about if it was $0? And they say, well, that
what is it going to take to get you into a $45 fine?
Yeah. I got $33 and 2 raw salmon. Genevieve, here's the fallback. Don't worry about that.
But Vives, here's the thing, though. I feel like getting it to 0 would be an incredible thing, and it would only be because the magistrate or the judge or the person that you're appealing to was so taken with your story. And I do think an enlarged, not a poster board thing, but at least an enlarged printout of the bus driver giving you a thumbs up or waving, I think that could be the critical piece of evidence. Because if you show that to the magistrate, oh no, well, I've gotten into some trouble trying to be too cute in my life, so I might not be the best judge of that. But I kind of could see it being that if the magistrate is already kind of enjoying the story, and then you show them the picture, and it makes them laugh. Here's what I can't see happening: the magistrate's laughing at the photo, and then they go, "It's $70." Like I'm reducing it by 5.
On.
Like I think that any semi-normal person is going to have to give you a pretty good reduction at that point.
Well, why can't we call that person as a witness?
I'm going in with the sorry.
I was just saying, why can't we call that person as a witness for the defense?
Subpoena them?
Can we subpoena the bus driver?
I don't know who he is.
Well, we can
he
figure
drives
this
the 40.
out. What were you going to say before I cut you off?
Well, I'm not going to bring a printout of a photo because that does feel like I think I'm being extra clever and cute.
What else are you going to put in your briefcase?
Yeah.
But I was
assume
going
you'll
to
have a Lionel
it ready
Hutz
to show on my
briefcase.
phone.
I think you need to print out this photo. I do think it should be on that cardboard stock or that what do you call that poster board stuff. And I also think
We're quickly turning a $75 ticket into a $150 boondoggle.
You can write it off. You can write it off.
You got to lose money to lose money.
I think you should also blow up a photo of the person wearing Dabney Coleman's mask from that episode of Columbo as Exhibit B. I don't know why I think this is important, but
Andrew,
it is.
This is a legal masterstroke. This is your if it doesn't fit, you must acquit moment. The entire case hinges on this. And what it is you blow up the Dabney Coleman and you say, Your Honor, there are people that I have heard of who would stoop to the level of printing out a very, very rudimentary Dabney Coleman mask so as to attempt to lie to the legal system. We're not here to do that today. We're here to find justice.
That's right.
I mean, that's compelling.
I love this.
My interest, Vives, has shifted from hoping that you could lie your way out of this to trying to find out how much a good story will reduce the cost of this ticket. Like, what's the sort of price, if you will, on this being a cute story? And
What's
we will
the market?
find out
What
together.
is the true market value of this story?
Exactly. Okay, quickly. I know that you've got places to be. I don't want to say where you are in case you're not supposed to be talking to us. But anyway, you're in a beautiful landline.
She's at the Como Studios.
Yes, exactly.
That's an inside
But
joke.
I've also heard, Vives, that you have recently decided to change your astrological sign, which I feel like is such an Aries thing to do. But what's going on with this?
Well, I am going to change my astrological sign because, as I feel about all forms of religion, they're all equally bunk. So
yes,
but I was born according to the way that modern astrological zodiac signs are organized. I'm born in March. I'm a Pisces, which is a water sign. And I should have. If I was smart, I would have had the descriptions of the signs pulled up. But Pisces is like all water signs. It's more like sort of. I guess it's like a little bit more artistic and kind of like go with the flow and maybe a little more reticent, more introverted. And I mean, there's just not, like any description of a Pisces, no matter how generic it is, just sounds nothing like me. Like it's like there's no possible way that those could describe me, even as kind of broadly applicable as all the sign descriptions are, and as much as like everybody has some elements of every sign in their personality. But then when you go and read about Scorpio, which I forget when Scorpio is, but it's like well across, it's like in a very different part of the calendar. I think it's like November maybe. That was much more like me, like pretty assertive, very like focused on like wanting things to be like fact-based and evidence-based. So I think as Scorpio, I think it might be a fire sign. I can't remember, but it's definitely not a water sign.
Genevieve, you were so angry. I don't know how we got on this topic the other day, and this is going back a ways now, but somehow the topic came up, and so you were on your phone, and you called up a specific description of what Pisces are known for, and you were reading it to me, and you were like angry.
Yeah,
and I think
to this.
Here, are you looking at the one from Allure?
Yeah,
like. Here we go.
Compassionate, artistic, intuitive, gentle, wise, musical. Like those are
dreamy nature. It says here, known for their dreamy nature, deep empathy, artistic flair.
Can I please push back on this a little bit, Genevieve? I don't listen. as a Taurus, I don't really care what you do with your signs, okay? That's classic Taurus
That is
behavior.
classic.
But I do think I've been looking at the outfits that you have been sewing on Instagram. I think that is demonstrating an artistic ability. Nobody does the song
It's actually
Bulletproof.
craftsmanship. It's quite the opposite,
Oh.
Luke. I'm so glad you brought that up because I am
interesting.
very incapable of doing sewing that just kind of springs from my own visioning, but I'm very good at following instructions like quite precisely and producing something that's a craft work. But I am not there's a meaningful distinction between craftsmanship and artisanry.
I think also, like it says here, I think this is the description you were reading, which, by the way, is from Allure magazine. I don't know if that is accurate or not from what you were reading, but it says...
I'm looking at zodiacsign.com.
But the dreamy nature, I think, ticked you off. It also says their interests often lie in the mystical and the artistic, where their vivid imagination and elusive, childlike spirit can truly run wild. And you
Manic
were...
Pixie Dream Vives.
Yeah.
Pisces like being alone, wrong. Love. I mean, who doesn't like love? That's just generic. Sleeping, wrong. Music, wrong. Romance, wrong. Swimming. I do like swimming. But that's it. Spiritual themes, wrong.
Well, Vives, let me ask you this. How do you see, and by the way, I totally support this because like you, I don't ascribe anything to this astrology stuff at all. And in fact, I used to say in my single days that like, it would, brief though they were, that like if I was talking to somebody at a bar and I was deeply interested in them and they were clearly kind of passing too much of their world through their astrology sign, it would be an actual deal breaker for me because it would make me wonder what else is broken about this person and their sense of reality. But that being said, how do you see this coming up in conversation, and how committed are you to the bit of, and I won't call it a bit, how committed are you to the fact that if we're talking, we're at a bar, everyone's chatting, oh, I'm at this, oh, Vives, what are you? Are you prepared to just say Scorpio?
I'm a Scorpio,
then you've got you do also need to do a little bit of research. You've got to remember what the months are. You've got to make up a new birth date.
It's basically late October to late November. And I did misspeak. I didn't realize that they're both water signs, weirdly. Scorpio is a water sign. I guess because it's an
insect that would immediately die in water. That's
well,
why,
I guess
that's why
it looks kind of like it looks like a scorpion, but maybe like also I mean, they live in the desert. I don't know why it's a scorpion, why it's a water sign, but listen to this. This is it. Resourceful, yes. Powerful, yes. Brave, yes. Passionate, a true friend. Likes, truth, facts, being right, absolutely. Talent, teasing, passion.
Podcasting.
This is very on point for me.
Wait, no.
That really does feel like that was written about you.
Yeah, a little counterpoint here. I think this was written about you. It says Pisces are ethereal mermaids who float through life on waves of emotion and intuition, often getting lost in their own fantastical worlds. Now, this is what's problematic. It says, naturally, this mystical sign doesn't always vibe well with the bold and brazen fire signs, Aries, Leo, and wait for it, ya boy over here, Sagittarius. I think that's another thing that pissed you off, is that I'm a Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Like, why are you predicting this for our relationship?
Well, also, like, I am a Sagittarius. Well, not only that, but also I think the Sagittarius sign doesn't really sound like me. I think Genevieve thinks I am more of a Pisces, vibing down the life of emotion and intuition. But I also want to clear one other thing up. Genevieve, if anybody at a bar asks you what your sign is, the answer is my sign is I have a boyfriend at home.
Yeah.
That's
my
what
sign is.
That
my
is
sign
what
is stop.
Yes, exactly. Because I assume I'm
had
not there.
Like, I do at my other job. I work with some people, at least one person who I think that they definitely believe, they give more thought to astrology than any of the three of us do, and it is a lens through which more stuff than I would is interpreted. Like, oh, what are you? Oh, you're that, you know. And she was telling me one time, like we were like in a meeting or something, and the meeting had gone slightly off topic, and she said, oh, you know what it was? Actually, it was before we did a show. before we did an episode of Livewire at the theater, and it had been Becca's birthday. And I said, they were like, hey, what were you doing this week? And I said, well, we did this and that because it was Becca's birthday. And then she started doing this analysis. She goes, well, she's I don't even know what her sign equates to, and then she was like, and you're a what? And I said, Taurus. And she goes, oh, that's a terrible match. And my first thought was like, really? Like, you're just going to tell me that about my girlfriend?
Yeah.
And then the second thing was, she goes, well, because I think she might be my sign. And she was like, well, I was dating somebody who was that sign. And it was and she's just like, we just did not get along. And it was this and that. She goes, I mean, later I did learn he was diagnosed as bipolar. And I go, that may have also played a role.
Yeah.
Like maybe more so than the astrology.
But why was he
of it.
bipolar, Luke? Because of his sign.
Right.
Exactly. Classic Aries or whatever. So.
But the thing about this is what I said to Andrew when I was complaining about this, which is like there's always some kind of like way that people who believe in the zodiac or astrology or whatever can like they always have an off ramp, because it's always like, oh well, yes, you're a Pisces, but you were born at 12:41 a.m. in Chicago, and so everything about Pisces is actually the opposite for you. So it's like when they do your star chart, you can like make it can be whatever you want, because like there's always something rising and something's in retrograde, and like it takes an already meaningless set of beliefs, sorry not sorry, and makes it even more ridiculous.
All right,
it's the opposite of codifying them, really. It's like throwing it wide open for any interpretation of any reality.
Last attempt at this, Genevieve, of me trying to convince you that you truly are a Pisces. What about this? Pisces thrive in relationships where they can swim freely in the depths of intimacy and soul-searching, always towing the line between fantasy and reality. Are you saying that does not
that
describe...
kind of swimming? No, I'm not interested in that kind of swimming.
That doesn't describe our relationship? Because I'm shocked to hear that.
What about this? This is another reading I'm
getting. You
getting.
guys know me. Like, I am not a Pisces. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm not a Scorpio, but I'm not a Pisces.
I'm seeing this for Pisces, though. She walks like summer and talks like rain. Reminds me that there's time to change. Oh, I'm sorry. That's from Drops of Jupiter.
I was trying to place that. Yeah.
Well, Vives, I fully support you in this. But like I said, you definitely need to get as a person who has been caught lying a couple of times in my life, you just got to make sure that you've got your supporting evidence really at the tip of your brain, because my guess is you might be one or two drinks in when the time to deploy this, and I'm not going to call it a lie, I'm going to call it your chosen reality. You just have to have a few other things. Yeah, your truth. Exactly.
Oh, my God. I'm not even joking for a second, Luke. I thought you were going back to her upcoming hearing, and I thought you were saying that Genevieve is going to be a few drinks in by the time she appears before the magistrate. I was like, that is not my understanding of the plan.
No, that's not the plan.
Nothing to just calm your nerves when you have to go in there and have a negotiation.
Yeah.
It would be funny if for some reason the magistrate asked you if you were an Aries and then you had to actually lie. Like this would be all of your recent decisions and rules colliding with each other. Anyway, all right. Well, Vies, thanks for coming on the show today.
Yeah, I'm sure Andrew will keep you posted on what happens with the ticket as this drama continues to unfold.
Thanks, and thanks for being on such a great phone line.
Yeah, thanks, Vives. Have a great weekend.
Always
we
happy
appreciate you.
Always happy to use a landline when the few left in America.
All right, bye, kiddo. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, bye, Vives.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Like that's the next thing they're going to take away from academia, Andrew, is the landlines.
Yeah, I know.
They're coming for it, for everything, including the good phone connections.
Yeah, especially when the taxpayers learned that Genevieve's phone line was used for...
Well, I was trying to... That's why I was trying to be vague where she might be, but I think
no,
she's on
she's on a job site building the new light rail, Luke. That's what I was talking about there when I said taxpayer money. All right, we should get out of here, though.
Yeah, I think that's going to be good for not just today, but this whole week. It's been a fun week, actually. Thanks for spending it with us, everybody. We're going to be back here Monday with more Imaginary Radio for all of you. I'll be able to report, Andrew, on how something called Bingo Loco went, which I'm this afternoon I'm going to Indianapolis, Indiana to observe this whole thing, whatever it is. So much to talk about on Monday, I'm sure. In the meantime, thanks for listening, folks. Have a great weekend, everybody. And please remember, no mountain too tall.
And good luck to all.
Power out.